Ja, frid och god morgon kära vänner. Idag är det den 2 december och ni är välkomna till morgonsändningen här. Och jag ska visa 2 klipp. Det första klippet här är från Pinto, TBN, och han förklarar så bra läget just nu i Israel. Men vi fortsätter och rapporterar på Telegram och på vår hemsida. Sen har vi då en uppdatering gällande den här sjukdomen, ni vet den här kinesiska som har spridit sig till Amerika och nu även i Tyskland, och det finns ju faktiskt oro för att det här är riktigt illa. Så håll till godo så hörs vi under dagen. Gud välsigne er alla.
This is day 56 in the Israel-Hamas war, and the ceasefire is over. The IDF is resuming its offensive against Hamas terror elements inside the North and South Gaza Strip. I'm Yair Pinto, reporting to you from Israel. The fighting continues in full force throughout the Gaza Strip after Hamas violated the ceasefire this morning by refusing to hand over the list of names of Israeli hostages that were supposed to be released back to their loved ones today in exchange for some 30 Palestinian prisoners. The first thing the IDF did was responded to missiles that were launched by Hamas towards the civilian communities surrounding the Gaza Strip by targeting and striking the origins from which these missiles were launched. In addition, the IDF is mobilizing large amounts of tanks, D9s, other engineering vehicles, and the infantry units into the Gaza Strip as part of its preparations to carry out an offensive against southern Gaza. The IDF was investing a lot of resources in order to communicate to the civilians inside Gaza that the IDF is preparing an attack against specific locations inside the Gaza Strip, urging them to move to safe areas in order to prevent civilian harm in this attack against a terror organization. This is very complicated, as the Palestinian enclave includes close to 2 million Palestinian civilians. The IDF is investing a lot of efforts and time in order to inform these civilians about the locations that the IDF is targeting as part of its operations to destroy Hamas, so that they can evacuate and move to a safe haven. The IDF is doing that by calling them personally and by throwing flyers to the air above the Gaza Strip. Hamas, on the other hand, is doing the opposite. It is encouraging the Palestinian civilian population to return to their homes so that they will be used as human shields when the IDF will invade Hamas territory. This is who we are dealing with. The IDF has been planning this invasion and this process of continuing the fight against Hamas in the southern part of Gaza once the ceasefire will over. Israel knew and prepared for this stage. The goal is to resume our offensive against Hamas and destroy its control over Gaza. This ceasefire was temporary. We wanted to release our hostages. That is still our goal. But the mission is to destroy Hamas, and that's what the IDF is doing. So far, since the ceasefire was breached by Hamas, 29 terrorists of Hamas were reported as neutralized by the Hamas terror organization. The deputy leader of Hamas, Khalil El-Haya, claimed that the organization is attempting to locate and release additional hostages in the Gaza Strip. Also, Qatar is stating that the ceasefire agreement and the negotiations are still ongoing behind the scenes. But this is not what we see on the field. Israel claimed that during the night, 7 Hamas terror units attempted to carry out attacks against IDF forces before the ceasefire was breached. The war is ongoing. Moreover, we hear more stories of the victims that Hamas kept for more than 50 days inside the Gaza Strip in terrible conditions. We are dealing with a terror organization that seeks to destroy us. This is not a humanitarian organization. This is not a normal country or a group that is dealing by any kinds of rules. Do not be fooled by their videos that show our hostages smiling and waving. This is a manipulation and a mind game. They use spirits of deceptions in order to fool the international community into thinking that they are a legitimate army that is representing the Palestinian people. They are holding the Palestinian people as hostages just as much as they are holding the Israeli civilians as hostages. By the way, Israel has more than 150 hostages inside the Gaza Strip, and we are fighting to release them. Yesterday, before the ceasefire collapsed, Hamas released 6 additional Israeli hostages back to their homes, and these are their names. Aisha El Zianda, 17 years old. Her brother, Blal, 18 years old. Nili Margalit, 14 years old. Shani Goren, 29 years old. Ilana Grachevsky, 30 years old. And Sapir Cohen, 29 years old. As part of the deal, Israel released some 30 Palestinian convicted prisoners back to Hamas, together with some humanitarian aid trucks that will deliver supplies and other goods to be used by humanitarian organizations inside the Gaza Strip. Israel is agreeing by her side of the deal, while Hamas violated this ceasefire. Moreover, Hamas is continuing with its mind games and manipulation against the civilian public of Israel by releasing a new video in which they share the terrible news to Yarden Bivs, a husband that was taken captive into the Gaza Strip on the 7th of October together with his wife and 2 little children. They told him that his wife and 2 kids are dead, blaming Israel, and then forcing him to read a script that we will not share with you today because we do not want to take any part in their manipulation and mind games against Israel. Please pray for him and for the other victims that were kidnapped on the 7th of October into the Gaza Strip. Israel is united, and we will not stop until we return our hostages home. Hamas's cruelty does not focus only on Jews. Amongst those that were kidnapped into the Gaza Strip were also Arab Israeli citizens. 2 of them were released yesterday as part of the deal, while their father, Yusuf, and their brother, Hamza, are still being kept as hostages in the Gaza Strip for more than 56 days. Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, stressed from the Air Force Base inside Israel that the IDF is ready and should act vigorously and forcefully today, tomorrow, and the next day in order to destroy Hamas, stating that the IDF is prepared. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, during his 4th visit to Israel since this war began, stressed that the United States is committed and supporting Israel in its efforts to destroy Hamas and to prevent this organization from ever carrying out an attack like it did on the 7th of October. Moreover, the US Secretary stated that his country is standing by Israel in its goal to replace Hamas from the leadership of the Gaza Strip. We are dealing with a terrible enemy that you cannot reason with, you cannot talk with, you cannot plan a better future with. We must stay united in our goal of destroying Hamas from Israel before it spreads to the rest of the world. In Israel's northern front against Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Lebanese terror organization issued a statement claiming that it is ready for any scenario in the battle against Israel. The fighting in the north continues, and IDF artillery units targeted Hezbollah positions along the Lebanese-Israeli border. In the West Bank area of Judea and Samaria, the IDF carried out an operation to arrest 15 Palestinian terrorists that attempted to plan and carry out terror attacks against Israelis in the heart of Israel. The forces were able to capture the terrorists and no injuries were reported to the Israeli troops despite explosive devices that were thrown at them. In a separate incident, 5 Israeli soldiers were wounded when a mortar exploded next to them. I think this is a good time to pray for the Israeli soldiers. The majority of those who are fighting in the Gaza Strip are between the age of 18 to 21. Just after high school, they are risking their lives day and night so that me, my family, and my children will have a better future in this land. And they are risking their lives so that this organization will die here in this battle before it spreads to the rest of the world. So please join us in prayer for the IDF soldiers to heal and for those who are inside the Gaza Strip to be protected and to feel God's defense over them. For some reason, people across the world do not understand that Israel is fighting an evil. We need your help in sharing these videos, other videos that tell the truth of what is happening in the land of Israel, so that we will have the international support to carry our mission and destroy Hamas and release our hostages. We cannot stop, and we cannot do this without you. Let's pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We know that God is
about this child pneumonia. So apparently in Germany, there's now an outbreak, and this is being reported by the news magazine Focus in its new edition published on Saturday, citing reports from the Hamburg area. We are actually seeing some infections with mycoplasma, some of them serious, says pediatric pulmonologist Philip Stock, the medical director at the Altona Children's Hospital. Those affected can develop rare complications. Doctors with their own practices in many other regions also reported a similar increase. Stock puts the typical age window at 5 to 16 years. Okay, so very young. The symptoms of an excruciating cough and narrowing of the airways are strong. The young patients have to be treated as inpatients for 7 to 10 days. Rare complications occurred, namely inflammatory injuries to the mucous membranes and the throat. So that's insane, guys. Excruciating cough, narrowing of the airways, inpatient treatment for 7 to 10 days. This is not what we're hearing from China and the World Health Organization. Okay, we're hearing that this is just some kind of normal flu. Okay, but that's definitely not what this is. Okay, this is actually mycoplasmic pneumonia. Okay, and this is being confirmed by a doctor in Hamburg, Germany, by the name of Philip Stock. You can look him up, pediatric pulmonologist, medical director. He's a director of a hospital there, a children's hospital, saying the typical age window is 5 to 16 years and an excruciating cough. Just not a good sign, guys. We could be having more lockdowns soon. And according to a ProMed report in China, the number of people being admitted to hospitals due to the new pneumonia is at 7,000 per day. Symptoms of the disease include high temperature, chills, no cough, formulation of nodules in the lungs. Hospitals in Beijing and Liaoning are overcrowded. School classes have been canceled, and doctors' working hours have been increased. And so what you're looking at here is a picture of some school kids with masks and IV bags. I mean, does this look normal to you? Is this something that happens when you get the flu? Very, very concerning, guys. And one of my subscribers left a comment on my last video. This person is a teacher in Warren County, Ohio. That's where one of the outbreaks are happening right now in southwestern Ohio. And apparently this person is a high school teacher, and they're saying that there's been an increase in the number of students that have called out sick and not reported to school. Okay, so high school teacher in Warren County, Ohio, leaving a comment on one of my videos saying that there's an increase in the number of students that haven't showed up to class. Very, very concerning.